Day 1 of the 2026 NFL Draft was a blast, and Day 2 didn't disappoint either. Trades flying, boards collapsing, teams scrambling. In the middle of all that chaos, 5 franchises walked away with players who should have been drafted sooner. Today we're breaking down 5 of the biggest steals from Day 2. Guys who didn't just slip, they fell. And some of the teams are about to look like geniuses for making the call. And trust me, the last name on this list is going to fuel some debate. Let's get into it, starting with a lineman who plays like he's trying to move mountains. Jake Slaughter is the kind of offensive lineman who makes you rethink how he lasted this long. He's a tone setter, the type of guy who finishes blocks with bad intentions and lets the defense know exactly what kind of day they're in for. The only explanation to why he fell to the second round is his position, and that the Florida Gators are a hot mess. And the SEC draft stock can be massively inflated, but your prospects can fall back to earth if you're on a trash team. Look at half the offensive linemen out of Alabama over the last 15 years. When your team is good, especially in the SEC, you have the potential of John Gruden and Mike Mayock taking you in the middle of the first round, even with a third round grade. Alex Leatherwood being a prime example. But here's what makes him a true steal. At pick 63, the Chargers know he's not just strong, he's polished. His hand placement is consistent, his leverage is textbook, and his footwork is cleaner than half the starting interior linemen in the league. Slaughter's versatility is what teams should have valued more. He can play center and either guard spot. That's valuable. That's the kind of flexibility that saves teams when their injuries hit in December. And the athleticism? Sneaky good. He shows quick feet and knee bend. He's a big man who moves like he's 40 pounds lighter. The Chargers didn't just get a lineman, they got a future anchor. A guy who could be a 10-year starter and a locker room leader. That's a Day 2 jackpot. Next up, a receiver who really took a hit due to his slow 40 time. Malachi Fields. This dude is a yak machine. The moment he gets the ball, he turns into a power back. Defenders seem to bounce off him like he's wrapped in rubber. I think Notre Dame receivers have a reputation for being unathletic. I think that's nonsense. You have Will Fuller, Chase Claypool, and Miles Boykin all being selected in the first 3 rounds, and they all tested off the charts. But it's not just physicality with Fields. Fields is a smart route runner. He understands leverage, he knows how to manipulate defenders, and he's deadly on crossers and in-breaking routes. He's the kind of receiver who turns a 5-yard slant into a 25-yard gain. He's also a beast when it comes to jump balls and back shoulder throws. He's got that Deebo Samuel style play strength, and the Giants are getting a physical free counterpart to the electric and elusive Malik Neighbors. Getting Malachi Fields in round 3 at pick 10 is like finding a $100 bill in your old jeans. You weren't expecting it, but you're definitely not going to give it back. There's a lot of fans out there that prefer Jacoby Lane in this pick rather than Malachi Fields. First of all, I think that's such a dumb take. Jacoby Lane is 6'4", 190 pounds. Man, he looks like Mr. Gumby out there. And he really relies on contested catches, doesn't get separation like a guy like him should. So I think this is the right pick here, and certainly Malachi Fields is a gem here in round 3. Now let's talk defense, because A.J. Halsey might be one of the most complete box safeties in the class. He plays like he's got the playbook downloaded into his brain. His instincts are unreal, and he diagnoses plays before they even develop. When he triggers downhill, he closes space instantly. He hits like a linebacker, but he moves like a corner. That combination is rare, and is exactly what modern defenses need. And the best part, he's not limited to one role. He can play deep safety, box safety, nickel, robber, whatever you need. He's scheme versatile, and that's gold in today's NFL. Halsey is the kind of player who becomes the heartbeat of a defense, so getting him in Day 2 is straight up theft. But similar to Nussmeier and Harold Perkins, I think Halsey's draft stock took a major hit because of how poorly his team performed in 2025. However, I think he's a player who will make some Pro Bowls and stick around the NFL for 10 plus years, if healthy, of course. I also think Halsey is a Day 2 steal because he's really a clone of Caleb Downs. I never really saw the hype with Caleb Downs. I know he played for Nick Saban. I know that he was a stud at Ohio State, but they had about 4 or 5 other big-time studs while he was at Ohio State. I just think a lot of it's just media hype, and that Ohio State has had a ton of draft picks over the years. I think Halsey is a much better value here at Day 2 than Caleb Downs ever was in the draft Day 1. Now let's talk corners, because D'Angelo Ponce should not have been available when the Jets picked him at pick 50. He is a mirror and match specialist. He sticks to receivers like glue, his footwork is clean, his hips are fluid, and his instincts are sharp. Here's a number that blows my mind. Pounds allowed under 40% completions last season. That's elite, and that's first-round territory. He's patient at the line, he's physical without being grabby, and he understands route concepts at a high level. He's not reacting, he's anticipating. And he's not just a man coverage guy. He's excellent in zone, he understands spacing, he communicates well, and he passes off routes like a veteran. He reminds me a bit of Asante Samuel Jr., smaller frame but sticky in coverage and elite instincts. He's the kind of corner who frustrates quarterbacks because he's always in the right spot. Teams overthought this one. Ponce is going to make a lot of front offices regret passing on him. Ponce is a really good football player. The only thing that concerns me is that he's pretty slight in stature and relatively short. He's under 6 foot tall, under 200 pounds. He's obviously well coached with Signetti. But the only thing is durability, right? So it's the only thing you have to worry about with D'Angelo Ponce moving on to the next level. And now, the biggest day 2 steal of the entire draft, Eli Stowers. This is a player who's going to have people looking back in 3 years saying, how did he last this long? Stowers is one of the most unique players in the entire class. He's a tight end with legit catch radius, but he's also a bulldozing blocker. He can be used in the slot, as an H-back, in the wildcat, and also with gadget packages. He can really do it all. He's the kind of player who forces a coordinator to rethink the entire playbook. You don't draft Eli Stowers to run a traditional offense, you draft him to create mismatches. And here's the thing, his ceiling is just as high as Kenyon Sadiq in my opinion, and he was taken in round 1. He just needs the right system, the right coaching, the right patience, as he learns to become a better blocker overall. Stowers is the definition of a swing for the fences pick, and on day 2, that's exactly when you're taking that swing. And Eli Stowers' journey is pretty interesting. He signed with Texas A&M as a quarterback, transferred to New Mexico, and then transferred to Vanderbilt. And at Vanderbilt, he became a tight end, perfect size, perfect arm length, all that stuff to become a great tight end. The only thing I'm concerned about is that he hasn't had many snaps as a tight end. Typically, you want 2 to 3 years at least of college football starting experience before you become a tight end in the NFL. But either way, his attributes, his length, his size, his speed, really makes him to be a fantastic prospect for the next level. So those are the 5 biggest steals from day 2 of the 2026 NFL Draft. Jake Slaughter, Malachi Fields, AJ Halsey, D'Angelo Ponce, and Eli Stowers. Which one do you think will have the biggest impact? Drop your pick in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want a breakdown of day 3 sleepers, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll drop that video next. Peace.